Sir?
Hi sir, good morning po. Rose po sa UNTV. Sir, we're preparing 2 scenarios tomorrow for the Quadcom hearing. Kung mag-a-attend si dating Presidente Duterte, how do we prepare for it? At kung hindi siya dadalo, what do we expect? Do we have new witnesses to present that will corroborate the reward system of the anti-drug war?
That's a good, tough question. But the chairman of the Committee on Human Rights will be able to answer that. Congressman Benny.
Magandang umaga po. Sorry sa pagiging late. Anyway, bilang chairman po ng Committee on Human Rights, noon pa, nais naming imbitahan ng ating dating Pangulo to appear. No? Not a person na inaakusahan namin, kundi bigyan ng linaw talaga ang lahat ng mga bagay na ito. Particularly yung EJK. Pagkat binanggit naman ni Colonel Espinido at ng mga ibang mga kapulisan natin na talagang may EJK. Ngayon, kung halimbawa hindi makakadalo ang Pangulo, ine-expect namin siyang dumalo sapagkat sinabi naman niya sa media na if he is invited, ay darating siya. Kaya palagay ko sa akin po, walang pagdududa na he might come. Kung di siya tumating, meron pa po kaming mga witnesses na talagang magsasalita patungkol sa mga bagay na ito.
Chairman, padagdag ko lang po. Actually, yung invitation ng Presidente nung nakaraan pa yan, and to invite him once again in tomorrow's hearing is just normal, no? He's just one of the resource person that was invited in previous hearing. Now, kung question of preparations with regards to proceedings, I think yung preparation is still normal because we treat the former president as one of the resource person that will shed light on the issue of AJK. So wala pong magbabago.
If ever he appears po tomorrow, ano po yung security na ipapatupad po natin? And will he get the first part of the hearings? Siya po ba muna yung pagsasalitain po natin? And what questions we will ask?
First, question of security, that's not us, but the Sergeant at Arms, now in coordination with the PNP. Second, if he will be the first or the last or in the middle, sabi ko na nga, we will treat him as part of the resource person. So, depende po yan sa mga members no, na magtatanong. And third question of what are those questions, let us see tomorrow what will happen during the hearing. Well,
Dagdagan ko lang din, no, na of course, we will afford him the courtesy due to a former president. No? Alam niyo naman dito sa Quadcom, nire-respeto naman natin yung rights ng ating mga resource persons at ng ating mga witnesses. Taliwas diyan sa iniisip ng iba sa pagbabati ko sa amin na we do not daw respect the individual rights of our witnesses as well as our resource persons. No? Of course, they have all the right, no, that we will extend to them. Kasi lalo na yan, dati pong Pangulo si former President Duterte. So definitely, we will respect him as a person and respect his former office as the President of the Republic of the Philippines.
Let me add, no, sa akin naman, more than asking any educated question, we would like to listen to his educated answer. Ibig sabihin, we're willing to listen. Di ba? I mean, for him to explain to us yung war on drugs, we're willing to listen. For him to explain to us why is it necessary on the war on drugs that more than 20,000 people were killed. We are willing to listen. Oo. We're willing to listen na sinabi niya several times na patayin ang mga drug pushers. For example, we're willing to listen kung bakit niya sinabi yan. We're willing to listen na yung kanya mga binanggit na pinapatay, na-involved din ang ilang mga pulis na gawin ang hindi dapat gawin. We're willing to listen. We're willing to listen to him. Nasabihin niya nagkaroon ba ng due process? Bilang chairman ng Committee on Human Rights, what I'm concerned about ito, nagkaroon pa ng due process. Nagkaroon ba na tinatawag natin sa konstitusyon na binigyan ng pagkakataon kahit mga suspect yan na hindi natin binibilang na mga kriminal unless proven guilty. Bilang ang ating dating Pangulo ay piskal. Naniniwala po siya sa due process. Naniniwala po siya na dapat bigyan ng pagkakataon ang mga suspect kahit mga drug lord pa yan. We're willing to listen. We're willing to listen kung bakit more than 7,000 ang mga pinatayan ng mga drug pushers sa mga maliliit. Pero yung mga malalaking drug lords, buhay pa hanggang ngayon. That is what we would like to know.
Ay sir, sorry, follow-up lang. Kasi sa mga social media feed or post po ng mga supporters ng Duterte camp, his attendance may lead to contempt. Yung pong respect that the Quadcom will accord the former president, is that enough assurance for him not to be contempt?
I cannot, the committee personally, I cannot assure that. It's up to him to be present tomorrow, and it's up to his answers and his actuation during the hearing. So, for me, sabi ko na nga, hindi ko pwedeng pangunahan ng dating Pangulo. Oh, let us see what will happen tomorrow. But one thing for sure, we will afford him the due courtesy, his office should be afforded. And second, siguro, I'd just like to add, no, just like what we have done with the office of the Vice President, giving due courtesy to that office, ang unsolicited advice po is the Vice President should also give due courtesy to the office of the President and, of course, to the late Ferdinand Marcos Sr. Yun lang po. Kasi well in fact, for the record, napakaganda na pong binigay naming courtesy sa kanya nung she was invited during the Good Government Committee hearing. Well, in fact, he was allowed to speak while not taking her oath. So, yun lang po, unsolicited advice. Just give due courtesy to the office of the President.
Well, Congressman Gonzales po, no? Well, regarding dun sa suhol, di po namin alam yun, di ba? Ang pagkaalam ko po from the day of the campaign, ang kasama po ni Vice President Sara ay si Speaker Martin Romualdez. Alam niyo po, sa totoo lang, pag nag-uusap kami ni Speaker, kasi po may survey na lumabas na mababasa sa Pampanga during those times, ang pinakiusap ni Speaker Romualdez sa amin na kung pwede tulungan si Vice President Sara sa Pampanga. Kasi nga, may kandidatong Kapampangan doon, si Kiko Pangilinan. At mataas si Kiko Pangilinan kasi Kapampangan. So, win-work out po namin yun. At from day one up to the proclamation, kasama po si Speaker Martin Romualdez. Ang kwento, lahat po, siya po ang nagmamalasakit kay Vice President Sara. Kaya nagtataka po ako, biglang bumaligtad, na kung hindi sa'yo, Speaker Martin Romualdez, hindi ako naging Vice President. Meron pong statement ganyan nung napanood po natin yun. Kaya sana po, hindi po natin alam kung ano ang nasa isip ni Vice President Sara, at yun man lang sabihin mo na uukayin mo yung tatay at itatapon mo sa West Philippine Sea. Ako po isang nasaktan bilang anak. Kung ako po si Senator Amy Marcos, sinabi sa tatay ko yon, palagay ko, hindi na po kami pwedeng magkita at mag-usap sa panahon na yon. Sasabihin ko, ibang klase na to, ibang usapan na to. So, sana po walang ganyang usapan. At yung ganyang naririnig kong mga mga salita, salita pag umiinom sa kanto, sa barangay, paglasing na, biruan lang yun, di ba? Pero walang ganyang, parang wala pong ganyan. Medyo, ako po, honestly, after yung press conference niya, meron po, nasa palasyo po ako, birthday po ni E.S. Bersamin. Pero gusto kong sabihin sa presidente, pero hindi ko po nasabi, kasi baka ayaw po niyang marinig yun. Pero deep inside in my heart, ako po talaga nasaktan doon sa sinabi niya. Because I'm also, anak po ako eh. Hindi na po ako makakakita ng tatay. Isa lang po ang tatay ko. Tapos sasabihin po sa tatay ko yun, uhukayin niya at itatapon niya. Ay, palagay ko napakasakit po nun. So bilang isang Kristiyano, bilang isang batang pinalaki sa maayos, palagay ko foul po yun. Salamat po.
Thank you. I would like to acknowledge also the presence of the chairman of the Committee on Human Rights, our co-chair sa Quadcom, Congressman Benny Abante. Good morning.
Mr. Chair, in addition to that, na sinabi po ni SDS, alam nyo, kahit pagbalik-balik na din natin ang mundo, yung ating pong former president, si Ferdinand Marcos Sr., malaki po nagawa niya sa bansang Pilipinas. Kahit sabihin na natin na inakusahan siya na diktador at napatalsik siya ng ating pong mga kababayan. Pero at the end of the day, we have to accept that he made a lot of things for the Filipino people. At yung pong pagsasabi na huhukayin siya at itatapos sa West Philippine Sea, medyo parang sa mga nagmamahal, lalo na yung mga Marcos loyalists, na nakita natin na talagang pinaglalaban yung ating pong dating Pangulo, napakasakit po nun. And we have to be careful with our statements, kasi hahabulin tayo ng panahon at pagkakataon. Like for example, yung ginagawa po na statements ng ating pong dating Pangulo, si Rodrigo Roa Duterte, ngayon hinahabol na po siya ng sitwasyon. We hope that this will not happen to the Vice President. But definitely, somebody might file a case against her. At nobody can prevent that dahil nga wala namang immunity ang ating pong Vice President. Masakit po yung mga ganitong klaseng salita na hindi naman po dapat nasabihin na nanggaling sa isang opisyal ng ating bansa.
Sir, clarification on the invitation kay former President Duterte. 18 pa po yun, October 18, yung reiteration ng invitation ninyo. Meron na po bang feedback from the PNP kung na-deliver man lang po doon sa bahay at may nag-receive nitong invitation? And second question, kung meron ding reiteration ng invitation kina Senator Bongo and Senator De La Rosa?
Well, dun sa previous invitation that we sent, I think, kundi nga ako nagkakamali, during the second or third Quadcom hearing yun, open-ended yun until we conduct these hearings. Open invitation po yung aming invitation. We only had to reiterate kasi para matagal-tagal na rin yun. This is already the 9th and going to be the 10th hearing of the joint committee hearing. So that's why we had to send and reiterate the invitation.
Pero I understand may sulat din po kayo kay CIDG Chief
Yes, we
to
did.
ensure na may magre-receive, may feedback na po.
As we speak, wala pa kaming nakukuhang feedback. But we had to course it through the PNP kasi sila ho'y nakakalam ng address doon sa area. And we always do that naman every time we send out invitations to personalities outside of Metro Manila.
Ako, magandang umaga po. Habol ko lang po, hingi lang po na reaction dun sa parallel investigation na gagawin ng Senate dun sa EJK tsaka drug war.
Well, kami, I'm sure narinig nyo na yung aming opinion tungkol dyan. Kami sang-ayon din kami dyan. No? In fact, mas maganda nga na magkaroon din ng isang parallel investigation dahil wala namang prohibition sa aming rules. And because of merong ganyang klaseng parallel investigation, we do expect that in sync ang lower house at saka ang Senate dito sa usapin tungkol sa EJK. We really have to come up with a law para matigil at hindi na mangyari po itong mga ganitong klaseng extrajudicial killings. Now, my opinion, I'm sure my colleagues here, my co-chairs, meron din silang sariling opinion. Ang opinion ko, Eh kung merong ang Senate, meron din ang House. Eh ba't hindi dala natin pag-isahin? Parang BICAM. Ang dating, isang joint committee hearing, nandyan ang Kongreso, nandyan ang Senado, at nandyan yung ating investigation. No? I think, mas malawak, mas komprehensibo, at siyempre, mas maraming mga intelligent questions na maitatanong ang mga membro nitong committee ito. So it has to be some sort of a joint, every time may SONA, di ba? Meron tayong joint session. Ito, ganun din gawin natin. Mas maganda sa tingin ko. I don't know. Sa tingin ko, priority ito ng mga mambabatas eh. Kaya kung uunahin nila yung personal na interes sa pamamagitan ng pagsabi na may kampanya kasi kaya wala sila, eh isa sa kanilang mandato at obligasyon ay itong ating ginagawang conducting an investigation in aid of legislation. Yan po ang aming trabaho. Yung produkto ng aming komite ay pinag-aaralan at pinag-iisipan po yan.
Tsaka lalo na, Mr. Chairman, no, para mapabilis. Remember, 2 weeks ago, nag-file kami ng 2 bill. No? Yung pong declaring EJK as a heinous crime at yung isa ng pag-stop ng POGO. Now, kung hindi magiging sinking yung upper and lower house, pagdating sa ganitong klase ng investigation at bills na pinal natin, by December, ang order ng Presidente tigil. Kung hindi natin mag-aaprubahan yung POGO bill na we filed, together with the upper house, mababaliwala po yung ating pong ginawang submission or filing of that two bills. Mas maganda po, para mapabilis po yung ating pong kilos, ay magsama na po ang Senado at ang Kongreso.
Habol ko lang po.
By the way, ipopropose pa namin yan kung ano ang masasabi ng ating Senate President at saka ng ating Speaker of the House. No? It was just an idea na tinitingnan natin kasi para masabi na impartial itong investigation na to dahil tayong lahat, bawat Pilipino ay naniniwala na kinukundina natin ang mga pagpatay. Wala po siguro magsasabi dito na natutuwa sila mayroong pinapatay, di ba? So dahil nga ganito kalawak itong usapin na ito at itong usapin na ito ay isang usapin of national importance, therefore ang Kongreso, ang Senado at ang lower house ay dapat magtipon para talakayin itong usapin na ito at gumawa ng solusyon nang sa ganon ay hindi na maulit ito.
Habol ko lang po, ibabalik ko lang ng konti doon sa kanina. Bukod po ba doon sa pagbili ng lupa, meron po bang ginamitan ng ibang peking birth certificate para makakuha halimbawa ng gun license tsaka ng driver's license? May ganun po bang nakita yung Quadcom?
Hello, lahat po. It all started with LCR and PSA. Pag may PSA na po, papasok na po yung LTO. Lahat na, and that includes passports. So, lahat ng mga government IDs and passports, doon talaga nagsimula doon sa LCR at saka sa PSA.
So, meron pong na-discover na ginamit yung pagkuha ng gun license, ginamit yung peking birth certificate?
I think sa case ni Tony Yang. Kay Tony Yang. I think sa Pimentel, recommendation is Escudero.
Recommendation yata ni SP yan, ano? And of course, we respect that dahil sila naman po ay bound by their rules. Ganon din kami dito sa House. Well, kasi hindi pwedeng siguro, naisip nila na hindi pwedeng si Senator Bato because he's being implicated, no? Bilang chairman ng Committee on Public Order and Dangerous Drugs sa Senate. That's why siguro naisip ni SP na ilagay sa Blue Ribbon at si Senator Coco Pimentel magdi-lead.
Good morning po, good Congressman. Earl po from IVC 13. Sir, on another topic, sa press con po ni Vice President Sara Duterte and over the weekend, ilan po sa mga House leaders natin na nagpahayag ng kanilang pagkabahala sa ilang mga statement na binitawan ng ating Vice Presidente. Any comments or reaction po on this one, sir? Thank you.
Yung sa akin talaga, gusto kong tanungin kung okay lang ba siya eh. Nag-aalala po talaga ako eh. Pero the statements were not even, for me, hindi na siya political eh. Parang it's a question of kultura. Nasa kultura ba nating mga Pilipino yung mga ganyan na statements? Ganyan ba tayo pinalaki? Ganyan ba kapaligiran natin? So, talagang nanlilisik. Parang galit na galit sa mundo. So, yun lang. Kaya talagang question ko po eh, kung talagang okay ba siya. So, yun. Follow up? O, si Jay.
Hello?
Congressman Rog, your comment?
Well, I have to agree with si Congressman Ortega. I think it's a cultural issue, especially yung relation to dun sa disgrace yung bangkay. And I think most of the people have already complained po, no? I think it doesn't really involve any comment on our part as congressmen, and we leave it siguro to the people to decide on how they would see that as qualities of a leader. Yun po.
We'd like to acknowledge also the arrival of Congressman Jay Kung Hoon. Good morning, Congressman Jay. And you can also direct your questions to him.
Sir, follow up. Go ahead.
Following up with that lang po, some of the Young Guns leaders requested psychological evaluation for the Vice President, sir. Would this be firm or may re-recommenda daw po ba tayo na...
Suggestion lang naman yun. Hindi naman, una-una, hindi rin naman ako pwedeng magrekomenda at wala rin akong kilala. Kasi so far parang okay pa naman ako. Pero the people have seen the interview. So parang may something. Ewan ko. Oo. Parang punong-puno ng galit, saka parang parang yung mga lumabas sa ating mga pahayagan, para talagang parang hindi ko alam kung may meltdown o may problema na nangyayari right before our eyes during the press con.
Sir?
Yung kasi yung yun ang lalabas sa news juicy So, dito naman sa Quadcom, from the start, we've been evidence-based. Kung ano po ang mga lumalabas sa aming legislative inquiry, very clear po yun na yun po ang lumalabas at napapalabas po sa social media. But, again, baka it's another diversionary tactic.
Sir, sabi ni Attorney Sal Panelo kanina sa interview, hindi naman daw publicly sinabi ni VP Sara yon, parang sa group chat lang daw yon. Doon sa sinabi na huhukayin nyo, yung paghukay.
Hindi, magaling talaga siya sa ganun. Yung kasi siya yung official interpreter dati, nung dating Pangulo. So malamang ginagawa na rin niya dito ngayon.
Sir, you mentioned parang punong-puno ng galit.
Pwede bang?
Yes. Sorry, sir.
Punong-puno ng galit talaga.
Yes. Why do you think po? Bakit po sa tingin ninyo ganun yung nangyari kay and you even mentioned Kong Ortega na parang may meltdown or may problema na nangyayari. Why do you think po na nagkaganon?
Well, siguro sa nangyayari sa ating Vice President, nagkakaroon siya ng, I think she's being overwhelmed by anger and hate. Pag ang isang tao ay sobrang galit, nawawala siya sa sense of decency sa aking paningin. And sometimes, yung how you manage yung hate sa yung katawan at saka yung nasasaktan ka, it's also a test of your character. Di ba? how you manage these things. It's a test of your character. So in the case of the Vice President, ay lumalabas po yung flaw sa kanyang character. Kasi natatalo ng kanyang galit. Yun po yung aking nakikita as far as this representation is concerned. Maraming salamat po.
Sir, hello po. Parang ang hugot po ni VP Sara, yung ginagawang pagkalkal doon sa kanyang confidential fund, yung paggamit ng pondo ng kanyang office ng Kamara. So ang House of Representatives po ba kayo, magbabago ba kayo or mag-a-adjust ba kayo, maghihinay-hinay ba kayo sa pag-iimbestiga sa kanyang paggamit po ng pondo?
Sa ganang amin, the performance of one's duty should be the primordial consideration. Trabaho po namin yun eh. And therefore, dapat walang let up to show what really happened and so far as the confidential funds of the Office of the Vice President and the Department of Education when she was still the Secretary. Kasi pag magbibigay po kami ng leeway, hindi po na yata in accordance with our mandate. Ganun po ang paningin namin doon.
Okay. Sir, before that, we'd like to acknowledge the presence also of our Senior Deputy Speaker, Dong Gonzales. Good morning. Okay, continue.
Sir, yung dito sa nakita nyo na, sabi nyo nga may meltdown, kakaiba, yung galit, ganito, ganyan. May nakikita ba kayo na parang signs ng psychological incapacity dun sa nangyari kay Vice President dun sa press con niya?
I think we would not be in a proper position to determine that. Siguro, it would be recommended that she should see a psychologist or a psychiatrist. Kasi sila po ang expert dito eh. Hindi po kami.
Sir, sorry, good morning po. Hindi lang po si Pangulong Marcos and former President Apo Marcos yung kumbaga tinira ni VP Sara. Meron din po kasi siyang binanggit laban din po kay Speaker Romualdez na sinabi niyang embarrassment daw po ang ating House Speaker. As House leaders, ano pong masasabi po ninyo dun sa pahayag po na yun?
That's her opinion. It's not the opinion of 120 million Filipinos. Di po ba? And she is entitled to her opinion.
Sir, follow-up lang. Kasi yung embarrassment po is stemming from doon sa sinabi ni VP Sara na tumanggap daw po ng suhol si Speaker Romualdez. Do you know anything about this? Or what can you say about this po?
Suhol saan yun?
She did not expound or elaborate po yung tungkol doon sa susunod daw niyang press con. Pero,
so we will not be commenting on that kasi hindi naman namin alam kung ano suhol yan.
Hayaan mo po muna mag-expound siya. Then we'll answer the issue about it.
Good morning po, sirs. Sir, can you mention prominent Chinese personalities na involved po dito sa mga documents na turnover po ninyo?
Okay, we will ask the chairman of the Committee on Public Accounts the names of the owners of these properties.
Good morning, everyone. Anyway, during the last year's hearing, lumabas na po yung pangalan ni a certain Eddie Tayang, in which the Bureau of Immigration confirms that Eddie Tayang is a Chinese citizen, with being a passport holder of a Chinese, no, in the person of Jia Yang, and he was also involved in the sale of properties for Mexico, the LGU of Mexico, Pampanga, and also involved in the corporation, the Empire 999, the Sunflare, and ayun, Mexico 999 and Empire 999 and Sunflare. Eddie Tayang involved in those corporations in which Well, in fact, he was cited in contempt, I think if my memory serves me right, that was November of last year pa. And until now, he is at large. And having transaction with the LGU of Mexico, Pampanga, particularly during the time of Mayor Tumang.
In addition also to the names mentioned by Congressman Paduano, a certain Willie Ong also have acquired hundreds, based on our records, we have 300 land titles registered under his name. And Mr. Willie Ong has likewise been identified as a Chinese national. So he organized a corporation called Empire 999, and there are also acquisitions under his name. So yan. And then Tony Yang, the brother of Michael Yang.
Sir, can you give us an estimate kung gaano kalaki yung halaga ng mga properties na nabili ng Chinese nationals?
As of now, we cannot yet, of course, the actual yung worth ng properties, no? But thousands of hectares po ang involved dito. And what is prominent is the corporations, no? That was owned by these Chinese nationals. Yung Empire 999 po, as I've said, Sunflare, at saka Empire 999 and Sunflare po.
In addition to that, para at least medyo klaro, kasi yung Empire 999, Realty Corporation, isang company lang yon. Consider mo yung pinag-uusapan ditong titles, almost 300 titles. Isang corporation. So meaning, marami pa tayong hindi na-discover ng mga corporations that are Chinese pretending to be Filipinos. So yun ang malaking trabaho na dapat nating asikasuhan, especially ang ating pong Solicitor General, na makita itong mga corporation na to, na maraming mga pure Chinese na pretending to be Filipinos and owning and buying properties.
Sir, just a clarification, Chinese lang po ba? Walang mga Filipino officials na naging kasabwat nila para mabili yung mga property na yan dyan sa sinabit ninyong documents sa Solgen?
Hindi, katulad na. Ay, ikaw na, brother. Sige.
As I've said, particularly with the transaction between Eddie Tayang and the sale of property which is worth 79.5 million in Mexico, Pampanga, the person of interest involved here is the former mayor, Mayor Tumang, Tede Tumang. Alam po naman natin na he was already dismissed twice by the Office of the Ombudsman. So, kung Filipino po, lahat na mga properties that was sold to Mexico, Pampanga, kay Mayor Tede Tumang po, at saka yung mga some of the employees, particularly Roy Gomez, no, is involved and until now also at large. And doon po sa sale ng property with regards to the warehouse that where the shabu was discovered, doon po sa Mexico, ang involved din po dito yung kapatid ni Mayor Tumang at the same time si Mayor Tumang po on the sale of that property with regards to that warehouse. So those are the Filipinos which is in collusion with these Chinese nationals.
I think let me emphasize also na ito sila ay nagpanggap ng mga Pilipino. Gumamit sila ng mga peke at mga spurious na mga dokumento na magpapatunay na sila ay mga Pilipino. Until after we have discovered na sila po ay mga Chinese nationals. Meron din po sila mga ginamit na mga dummies, no? Na mga Filipino, apparently Filipino-Chinese. No? Nandyan ho yan sa ating mga listahan. So makikita po natin na ito ay panlilin lang, no, sa atin, no, dahil talagang gumamit sila ng mga dokumentong pagpapanggap na sila ay mga Pilipino.
Sir. Saka in addition to that, kailangan very critical tayo doon sa PSA, saka doon sa local civil registrar. Very particular tayo doon. Dahil doon tayo, doon na lang, yun ang ginamit ng mga Chinese. Ang PSA, nag-relax sila doon sa requirements nila para sa birth certificate. Also doon sa mga local civil registrar. Kaya, yun nga, sana itong ating pong Solicitor General have to look deeper doon sa problem ng PSA sa local civil registrar.
Sir.
Of course, we'd like to acknowledge also the presence of our overall Vice Chair, Congressman Romy Acop. Good morning, Chairman. Yes, Mela.
Sir, tanong ko lang po, from the side of Office of the Solicitor General, ano pong masasabi nyo dito sa mga itinurn over na dokumento ng Quadcom at moving forward, ano po ba yung magiging proseso nyo rito?
Hindi pa po namin nakikita yung contents ng mga documents turned over to us now, pero may mga listahan po dito sa invitation ng mga honorable chairpersons ng Quadcom. Aaralin po namin to. Pero initially po, eto po kasi yung mga possible na actions that may be filed by the OSG with the coordination of the pertinent government agencies, for example, sa civil forfeiture of the assets acquired of this Chinese through AMLAC, and eto rin for the reversion and or escheat proceedings to recover yung mga fraudulently acquired real estate by this Chinese. Pero eto po, aaralan namin mabuti kung ano yung real status of these lands now. Whether or not in the meantime, these lands have been transferred to qualified Filipino individuals or entities, in which case, jurisprudentially, the constitutional defect is deemed cured. So, ang kwan lang nito, if the real estate is still in the name of this Chinese, we will file the necessary actions, escheat or reversion. Then, kung eto po, pag nasa pangalan na to ng mga Filipino individuals, cured na po yan, pero subject po sa possible administrative or criminal actions sa mga involved, including mga government officials, if there's any.
Okay. Sir?
You know.
Okay. Sir. May dalawang tanong lang po ako. No? Yung unang-una ay ilang mga Chinese po yung nasa listahan ho natin na binigay po natin dyan sa OSG. Pangalawa, pwede ho bang pakidescribe kung itong binabanggit ho na mga lupain o property, pwede na ho bang makabuo ng isang munisipyo o lungsod sa laki ng mga property na pinag-uusapan po natin? Salamat po.
Ang aming estimate, thousands of hectares Itong nandito, we do not have the final figure, pero kung babasihan natin yung number ng titulo na na-acquire, no? Na ilipat sa pangalan ng Chinese national o hindi kaya doon sa kanyang korporasyon na nirehistro, lumalabas ito, umaabot to sa mga 300 hanggang 400 na titulo. So if you estimate that each title would have at least a hectare of land, so doon lang sa isang tao, sa isang korporasyon, meron na silang estimated 4 hanggang 500 hektaryang lupa sa isang kumpanya lamang yon. So tama yung sinabi ni Attorney Ocampo that they will study this, initiate the escheat proceedings, kasi if ever we recover this, it has to be recovered in favor of the national government. Kasi nga, merong fraud na nangyari. Bumili sila ng lupa, all these properties are fraudulently acquired. I don't know kung ano yung purpose. Yung iba, ang ginawa nila, nagtayo sila ng mga warehouses, nagtayo sila ng ibang negosyo, and possibly, no, kung nakalusot ito, baka nagkaroon na naman ng Pogo Hub dyan sa mga lugar na yan.
And siguro in addition, Mr. Chairman, kasi we have to be expedite yung lahat ng issues pertaining to the properties that were owned by the Chinese people pretending to be Filipinos. Si Secretary Lucas Bersamin issued a preservation asset na kung saan doon sa asset preservation doon sa Banban na kung saan nakapreserve yung asset po nila para hindi na mabenta. Now, sana yon nire-request natin sa Solicitor General to coordinate with the Executive Secretary in order to have to issue agad yung ating asset of preservation while they are doing yung mga documentary documents that need to be done para makapag-issue sila ng mga preservation of those all assets, no. Maganda yung ginawa po ni Secretary Lucas Bersamin. Sana magawa din po ng ating Solicitor General.
Chairman?
Yes.
Anyway, doon po sa number of Chinese personalities involved, ang most prominent, of course, is Eddie Tayang and Willie Ong. But in those corporations mentioned, particularly Sunflare, which is based in San Simon, Pampanga, and Empire 999, which is based in Mexico, Pampanga, if not all, most of those incorporators are Chinese. Now, in the case of properties, sabi nga ni OSG kanina, na cured, there are one case, no? Isang case po, property of Eddie Tayang, in which it was claimed to be his residence in Mexico, Pampanga, and it was bought by a certain Rodingo. But when he was invited during the hearing, in good faith, he bought that property, and he's very much willing to cooperate po doon sa process, legal process with regards to those properties, no? Isang property lang naman po yun. And we hope that some of those properties are still nakabitin po, no? That's why we have to move fast so that all those properties will be reverted back to the government. Thank you po.
Okay, we'd like to acknowledge also the presence of our Deputy Speaker, J.J. Suarez. Good morning, DSJJ. So,
Sir, clarification uli. Yung mode ng pagbili ng mga properties na yan, paano ang natuklasan ba ng Quadcom through money laundering, cash ba yan na binayaran, yung pera ba galing sa proceeds ng drugs, paano? At saka Pogo pala.
Patuloy pa rin yung ating investigation dyan. No? As far as paano sila nakapag-acquire, of course, they possess fraudulent documents pertaining, saying that they are all Filipinos. Kaya regular, no? Mayroong presumption of regularity do sa kanilang pag-acquire nito mga properties na to. Now, nasa proseso po ngayon ng Quadcom ang pag-determine whether ito bang mga ginamit na pera pambili ay isang paraan para makapag-launder o makapaghugas sila o makapaglaba, no, in layman's language ng kanilang pera, no, that hopefully we will be able also to discover kung ano yung source ng pondong ito. Okay.
Sir, kung tanong ko lang, sakaling magsusulong tayo ng panukalang batas, ano po ba ang nais nating isulong ng Quadcom, especially dito sa pag-acquire ng napakaraming mga land titles ng mga foreigners? And then, ano po ba yung pananagutan ng PSA, lapses, dahil nga nabibigyan kaagad ng mga birth certificate po itong mga banyaga? Thank you.
Well, dun sa pag-acquire nila ng property bilang foreigner, nasa constitution po yan. So, hindi na po siguro kailangan gumawa ng batas because there was a clear violation of the provision of the constitution. Pero doon sa PSA, yan po ang aming pinag-aaralan sa ngayon. No? Kailangan maging mahigpit yung requirements para bago sila mag-issue ng certificate of live birth. Lalong-lalo na doon sa mga nag-a-apply under the policy of late registration. Kasi karamihan dito sa mga Chinese na ito ay late registration. So, doon pa lang dapat magtaka nga tayo 18, Alice Go, for example, 19 years old na siya nung nag-apply siya for Filipino citizenship. Sabi niya, late registration dahil daw lumaki siya sa farm, hindi naasikaso nung kanyang mga magulang, no? Yung pagka-re-rehistro sa kanya. Kaya nga, isa yan sa tinitingnan nitong Quadcom. Kasama diyan yung ating local civil registrar. Kasi ang endorsement nanggagaling sa kanila bago yan umakyat doon sa PSA. So, tinitingnan din natin in these two agencies kung ano ang pwede nating gawin na mga batas, no? O panukalang batas para higpitan natin yung pag-implement nila ng mga pulisiyang ito.
To add, no, actually yung problema lagi dyan, yung defense ng PSA, first, binabalik nila doon sa LCR because they're just receiving the documents coming from the local civil registry. Now, second na defense lagi nila is ministerial daw yung role nila. That's why during the hearing of public accounts, nilaw po natin na dapat we have to do something about it. We have to legislate laws that will make sure na hindi na po lulusot itong mga kasong ganito. Not only Alice Go, in the case of Edita Yang, kalahin mo, 1983 siya pinanganak, yung registration na dito as a Filipino citizen after 23 years o 21 years, 2004. So, doon po sila nakakalusot. Kaya kailangan we have to legislate laws na siguro po natin na hindi ito lumusot in the future. Yung mga ganito pong kalakaran.
Saka in addition to that, kasi yung PSA, meron silang service provider para doon sa kanilang automation, doon sa ating pong tinatawag po nating registration. No? At ang service provider nila for so many years, no? I think 10 taon na yung service provider na yon. And they spend like, I think, if I'm not mistaken, during the investigation namin, wala pa sa Quadcom to, if I am right, kung hindi sa dangerous drugs, sa public accounts, na-mention doon yung contract. Ang contract na inabot ng PSA, no, doon sa service provider nila, almost, I think, if I'm not mistaken, 5 billion. So, kung meron tayong ganong klase ng kontrata, no, doon sa PSA, being owned by a private corporation, not owned by the government, at stake yung ating tinatawag na mga profile ng bawat Pilipino na dumadaan sa kanila. And I think the Solicitor General have to check on this as well. Yung contract ng PSA doon sa Unisys. Unisys ang kontrata nila eh. At sa Unisys, according to the federal investigation that was conducted in the United States, meron silang case against this Unisys Corporation. We tackled this in the committee, and I think it is imperative on the part of the Solicitor General to look into this.
Sir, just a question. Yung pagpasa ng documents sa OSG, does this mean that the Quadcom has finished tackling yung issue ng illegal drugs saka yung mga warehouses na allegedly owned by Chinese nationals?
No, hindi pa. Ito lang yung aming nakita na I think sufficient and substantial na yung aming investigation na nagawa dito sa particular na Chinese national na ito at saka yung kanilang corporation, no? Yung Empire 999, Mr. Willie O, Mr. Edita Yang. So we feel that immediately we have to initiate the forfeiture proceedings nang sa ganun, hindi na po tayo maisahan. Baka maibenta ho yan eh. Kagaya ng isang property ay naibenta, yung 6 hectares yata nabenta doon sa Mr. Rudingo. No? Buyer in good faith siya. Akala naman niya, Pilipino yung kausap niya until we discovered that hindi pala ito totoong Pilipino.
Sir, sir, this is not part of the partial committee report po, or this is part of the partial committee report?
Hindi pa ito yung kasi we're still writing the partial committee report, and eventually baka Baka itong linggo ito, baka next week siguro, we will be able to turn over the partial committee report to the agencies concerned. Ito ay nakita lang namin that there is an urgency. Kasi nga, baka biglang maibenta to bukas. No? I remember, yung kay Empire 999, investigate natin yon ng October last year, di ba?
Yeah.
Oh, yung pagdating ng mga bandang March and April, naibenta niya yung property. So, medyo gusto natin sana merong tayong urgency dito.
Sir, bukas Quadcom ulit tayo. Confirm ba na dadalaw si dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte?
Siya, meron, galing ng tanong mo, Vic. Kala ko dito lang tayo muna sa property. Sige, hindi. We already sent out invitations. Nireiterate lamang natin. Kasi nga yung dati na pinadala natin, kundi ako nagkakamali, during our second or third Quadcom hearing yan, napadala natin yung mga invitation yan. Pero walang tugon. Walang... no? That's why we reiterated. Maaring hindi natanggap, maaring kaya nga itong invitation na ito, nagpadala tayo ulit.
Natanggap po ba?
Wala pa kaming feedback. I think we course it through the PNP na mapadala ito para mas mabilis. So, okay.
Hopefully.
No.
Sir?
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 Sir, sorry. Sir,
Go ahead.
Sir, follow-up ko lang yung sa mga Chinese na may title. Meron ba may narinig ako, baka mali lang ako, Tony Yang, the brother of Michael Yang. Kasi meron ding ID Tai Yang. ID Tai Yang is same as Tony Yang.
No. Iba yan, magkaiba yan.
But this ID...
ID Tai Yang, yung Chinese name niya is Jiajing Yang.
Okay. Pero related ba to sa kay Michael Yang and Tony Yang, sir?
Si Eddie Tai Yang is related by business associations.
As business associate
Yeah,
of
but of
Michael
course si
Yang and
Tony Yang is related to Michael Yang, the brother of Michael Yang.
So itong si ID Tai Yang is business associate ni Tony Yang. Tama,
No,
sir?
ni Michael Yang.
Michael Yang. Okay, thank you. Thank you, sir. I'll just like
Sir, kagaya po nung nangyari sa good government na hearing, hindi po tumayo si VP Sara para mag-take ng oath. Granting po, pumunta po si former President at hindi rin po tumayo para mag-take ng oath.
Again, as I've said, I cannot personally, no, I cannot answer about it, but we have to stick in our rules. What is our rules should be followed during committee hearings. And let us see tomorrow. Let us see tomorrow. I cannot answer about it, but we have to stick in our rules. What is our rules should be followed during committee hearings. And let us see tomorrow.
Bakit ang konti ng mga tanong nyo? Himala. Okay, sige, okay. So, maraming salamat sa ating mga kaibigan sa media. Thank you. Yeah, you still have one more question, Rose? Okay.
Sir, magko-comment lang si Rose na parang namumula po kayo.
Hindi, walang tulog eh. Di ba, we're supposed to be on vacation? Di ba? Nagtanim ako doon sa amin eh, kaya mainit eh.
Ako, palagay ko yung tanong kanina, palagay ko mas civil si former president kaysa kay vice president. Palagay ko, magte-take ng oath yan. Mas civil siya eh.